Chen, door.
We'll see you around the timeline. Feels good to be back.
I think that Rollup is one of the most premier media brands in crypto, and Andy and Robbie are great experts at everything they talk about, and it's my favorite podcast.
Adding it to my library as we speak.
Potentially multi-chain deployments.
We are at DevConnect Day 1 here. I'm Gracy from Space. JP Morgan, BlackRock, DTCC, Fidelity, the entire thing was just institutions. It's next level. This industry is going to the next level. And guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
He said it, he finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish, I'm bullish, we're bullish. Is headed to the top. If we're not already at the top, we're going to the top.
We're going.
Rollup is my favorite.
From all walks of life, all over the world, all over this industry, come together for the roll-up.
Zoom out. The institutions aren't coming. They're simply here. It's the golden age of crypto, guys. Get right. Let's go.
Welcome to the nest. See you on the show.
Happy Thursday from the Tokenization Tower, ladies and gentlemen. We are winning right now. The balance is coming. The fundamental coins are leading. Our bags are doing well. And we are in the right spot right now. We're in the right spot. It is a Thursday before the July 4th weekend. I'm flying to North Carolina tonight. Played basketball with the Plume Boys yesterday after the After the show, there's an indoor basketball court and gym in the building. Absolutely cooked my back. I got double pillow support today. I'm on life alert. I'm on life alert right now, and we're up. We're up. I mean, Bitcoin's at 61.2, hype's above 65. Per is just kind of taking a shit, but it's gonna be all right. For real. Bitcoin looks good, guys. I think we're on. I think we're on. Stretch is getting back to that 90s level. We're gonna talk about that part of the thesis. We got a great show today. As always, guys, you're watching the Rollup live from the Tokenization Tower, the Nest, the financial capital of the world, powered by our friends at Plume. Plume is building on-chain asset management infrastructure with their Nest Vault. We're live in the Nest Tokenization Tower. Good to be back, guys. Happy Thursday. Last show of the week. It's going to be a shorter one. We've got Gracy Chen, the Bitget CEO. We're going to talk to her about our return of fundamentals thesis, token versus equity conversation, and more with her. I think she's going to have some interesting things to say from the centralized exchange perspective. Edward is fired up about Lighter. Good to see you here, Edward. From nearly liquidated to now green on Stretch. As I said, I don't think Stretch is getting smoked. I think we're fine. And I will continue to say that. I stepped on my headphones, getting a new one, so I'm running Alex's Apple headphones. There's a lot going on here on Thursday in the tower. We got markets and weather, and then Bitget's CEO. As always, guys, our topics are powered by our friends at Trezor. Visit trezor.io, use code ROLLUP10 to get yourself a free discounted Trezor hardware device. Not free, but I'm trying to work on some free ones for you guys, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get the show on the road. Before we do, let me tell you about Frax, building infrastructure for the future. Digital money, open, stable, borderless. For more information, start using the future digital money. Visit frax.com to learn more. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 94 degrees in the tower. It is 94 degrees. I don't know if you guys saw the news yesterday. Actually, I'm for sure gonna pull that up before we even get too deep into the show. There is a Russian couple who climbed to the top of the tower yesterday and proposed. The man proposed to the woman on top of the tower. They got arrested for like 6 charges. They've been known to do this. They were in a Netflix film as well. And it was insane. I'll pull up the tweet. I'll show you guys the video. As always, our markets are powered by our friends at Relay. Visit relay.link to start your cross-chain swap journey today. Visit relay.link. Let's keep it rolling into the markets. Before we do, let me tell you about Denari, our tokenized U.S. equities partner, bringing real-world stocks on-chain. Visit denari.com to learn more. Guys, markets look good. ETH's up 5%, Sol's up 3.5%, Chainlink up 5%, near almost back up to that $2 mark. Up 4.5%, Bitcoin up 2% at 61.3, and our tokens are doing really well. Hyperliquid's at 65.4. Obviously, we're huge hype bulls. Lighter is at $2.05. We've been talking about Lighter since it was less than $1.50. So if you guys have been riding that, you guys have been doing quite well. Aerodrome's at 50 cents. Looks ready for the next leg up into its July news launch of Aero on Ethereum mainnet. Near's up 6% as well. We got that bounce that we were talking about yesterday. And then Zcash is also up 5%. Also getting a bounce from those lows. It all is dependent on Bitcoin and Bitcoin's strength right now. What we want to see is Bitcoin to get that close daily above 62, above 63K. And I think then that sets us up for the 67 to 69 to 72 range, which in my view would give us enough gasoline to really floor those tokens that I just mentioned and a couple others. Like I think if we get to that 66, 67, 68, 72 range on Bitcoin in the summer, before probably the inevitable dump to the new lows, maybe in the mid 50s, maybe a little lower, later in the year, then I think that we're gonna have a really nice pocket of upside. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. I'm looking at Stretch. It's at 88. It looks pretty solid. It tapped 90. So again, our bull thesis was what? It was gonna touch that 90 level and stay in the low 90s. And that was gonna be like the bull thesis. And so I think we're looking pretty good there as well. I think Stretch has kind of, all the fear around it has subsided, at least like materially. Obviously it's still kind of a process, but we're gonna see kind of what happens. So Semiconductor weakness is weighing down. We talked about this yesterday, how semiconductors are up 94% the first half of this year. I think that trade's taking a big break, and I think we're gonna get a rotation into the coins. That's kind of the thesis right now. Not sure how long the rotation of the coins lasts. We're still in a bear market. As I say, we have about 3 to 4 months left, but I think we have one more good little pocket of outperformance here where our bags that are in long-term bull trends from the beginning of this year are gonna still perform quite well and probably give us some explosive moves. Like I think the next leg up on hype, lighter arrow will be pretty explosive moves. So, guys, let's get into the news. As always, our markets are powered by our friends at Zama. Visit Zama.org to try out their confidential transactions and compute layer on Ethereum, which reminds me to hit them up for something. Make a quick note there, guys. Edward says, Andy, saw your tweets about equity tokens, but my understanding is that Lighter has equity too. Do you know if there's any value accrual to Lighter equity holders, but not token holders? I'm trying to find that out. But basically, they have an economic tie to the token, but no legal binding liability to work on the token, is from what I understand. I need to talk to the team and get a better understanding. But yeah, that is still yet to be understood, and we're going to talk more about that. So each nuanced case, I'm not sure I have a definite answer for you guys. So that's going to take a bit more research. But we're going to talk about that divide. Before we do, let me tell you about Near, your home for building, discovering, and using apps on chain. Visit near.com to learn more about how to use your apps on chain using Near. And then I want to get into the tokens and equity, but hold on. I'm going to get this Empire State thing for you guys. I just want you guys to see this. So Leo, if we could just pull that up. What about tokenized native equity? Does that make sense? Yes. If you're just tokenizing an equity on the stock market and putting it on chain, that does make sense. That does make sense. And that's a completely different conversation because there's not a token and an equity. That is a tokenized version of solely the equity. So yesterday, guys, while we're on the show, like legit, as soon as we started the show, this happened. Insane.
Wow.
They're at the top of the Empire State Building. It says, when the power of love beats the love of power, the world wins. Look at them. They're not strapped in. They're completely on the top of the Empire State Building, 1,500 feet up. And they got arrested.
Wow.
They got arrested. I mean, look at this. This guy proposed. He proposes the top of the Empire State. Let's just like, we're on the 77th floor, guys. So this is, I don't know. There's only 3 more floors up, and then there's the observatory, and then there's the top. This was happening right above us during the show yesterday. Insane. And then they just start scaling this thing and climbing it. Like what?
Climbing without ropes, without carabiners, without any kind of harness, it would seem, for this elaborate proposal, protest.
All right, so this is a very difficult moment since we're all live and we're trying to process all this, because your first thought is, what's going on? Why are these people climbing to the top of the Empire State Building? This is dangerous. This is illegal. Okay, and then you see a banner all about, love and peace in the world. Okay, you think they're protesting something, but they work themselves down to the base of the antenna, and it looks like he proposes. She says yes, they hug, and now it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
I mean, I'll tell you what happened next. These motherfuckers got arrested, and they're going to be in jail. I mean, what a bunch of clowns for doing that. The thing is, these guys are like pretty famous. They've done this on Netflix before as well. Like they've done it on Netflix. They have a show. They're like pretty famous. It's kind of insane. It's kind of insane. All right, guys, let's get into it. Token versus equity. Lame. What's up, everyone? What's up, OG Killer? They should have just wrote LIT on that flag. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's play this video from Mike. I think this is a good start to the conversation here. Tokens with equity do not work.
We've got to stop doing token equity splits.
We've just got it. It's 2026. We have hundreds of thousands of data points to support this. Nothing on a 5-year time horizon is up. Most of the stuff is down 90, 95%. Even the best tokens that have an equity structure that have been around for a long time have hundreds of millions in revenue. They're flat. They're flat. And the reason that they're flat is because there's this imbalance. Everything about the token, from the airdrop to what you need to do to incentivize distribution partners at sexes or custodians or whatever, it's all sell pressure. And if you don't have the buy pressure of investors buying the token to offset it, it doesn't work and it's down only. This is the definition of insanity. We have run this experiment not 10 times, not 100 times, hundreds of thousands of times. I don't know what else we're looking for here. It doesn't work. Any project, no matter how good it is, there's no project that's so good that it can overcome this misalignment of incentives. It is impossible to work. It doesn't work. We need to put the nail in the coffin. This thing is done. And we're at a moment in time. You know, the future is not written here. Do we want to keep doing this? Is this fun for people? Do we want to keep running up these projects, you know, for 6 months and then watch it go down 95%? This is not the future isn't written in stone. We can change this, but it means people have to change. We have to update our mental models for the times. And I know it sucks. It's an inconvenient truth. I don't really want it to be true, but I don't see how you could look at this and come to any other conclusion that this is a fundamentally broken structure and we gotta change it. We have to change it.
Yep. So Mike's arguing that when the ownership and value accrual are split between the equity and the token holder, it just doesn't work. And we've seen iterations of this. We've seen companies on Solana, the Vector.fund company that used to be that NFT marketplace on Solana. They sold the company and completely abandoned the token. We saw Axelar sell their company to Circle, I think, and completely abandon the token. And it's just, we've seen, and now we had Venice do a fundraise and they get equity and tokens. And so Mike's right. I don't think assets are investable if there's a token and equity split, because you get a very, very, very direct misalignment of incentives. It's just so clear as day now. There has to be a unification of the equity and the token together. Because if there's not, you don't know what you're buying, and there's essentially no shareholder duty or fiduciary duty from the team to their token holders, only to their equity holders. And so that creates a big problem. And so where do we go from here? We're going to see teams take it seriously. I predict that we're going to see teams with their equity structure basically wind down their token and issue tokenized equity in their company as the new form of the token. So existing companies with tokens will wind down their token and allocate pro rata tokenized shares of the equity company of their company as the token. And that is going to be the next breakthrough. Hyperliquid already does this. You buy the Hype token, it is 1-to-1 equity in the company. You're getting the full benefits of being a token holder. People are asking about Lighter today. Do they have the same structure? Slightly different. No, not as clean. People are asking about tokens like Morpho. Morpho does. Morpho, when you buy the Morpho token, you do get just pure, like the equity is the token. Near is the same thing. Near, the equity is the token. And so there are some examples already, but there's a lot of non-examples. And I think that we're going to see this happen where teams wind down their token and exchange it for tokenized version of their foundation equity. A DAO doesn't make sense to me. You need to be the owner of the product, not only the revenue. Correct. That is it right there. Is you don't just want to be the owner of the revenue of these tokens. You want to be the owner of the actual equity in the company. So that way that if Axelar sells or Vector Fund sells, you get paid. There's no way in hell that Axelar can sell their company and Vector.fund can sell their company and Venice can raise money and the token holders don't get a massive outsized win because they were right. They bought those tokens because they figure that there was an exit potential, there was upside potential, and they don't get anything. They get shafted. So if we go to the next post, this is exactly like what's happening is when you in any of the venture scale deals that we've done, right? You sign a SAFE, so a simple agreement for future equity plus a token warrant. And so if insiders are signing equity agreements and token warrants, why the hell is retail only allowed to buy the token? Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like if all the VCs and the team and the insiders and the advisors have equity in this foundation structure, but the retail investors only get tokens, it doesn't make any sense. And so what kind of hit the market hard? So how does that sit with hype token holders like us? If I understand correctly, hype is a clean expression of this, meaning there is no equity and there is no token. It is all one. It is just the hype asset. That is it. That is my understanding. That is my understanding. And I believe that to be the case. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And I mean, look, guys, this is a very bear market phenomenon. Like we're sitting here and it's a deep bear and we're all coming to the realization that tokens aren't really what we thought they were. And this is going to change. And it has to change. And it will. And it will. Because none of us are going to bid this garbage. None of us are going to bid stuff that isn't like what Aerodrome is doing, where it is the entire equity, where the token gets the full value redistribution. We're just not going to bid it. Why would we? Why would we? The problem is that you are not the owner of Hyperliquid LLC. You can't contract devs and make the choices right. I mean, yes, from that perspective, that is correct. Like there is a foundation that we are not the owners of. But from what I understand, there is no equity portion to Hyperliquid. It is just a token, meaning that the foundation is the owner. Like the foundation, the Hyper Foundation is just a token. There's no equity. It's just a token. And so we're gonna get nuanced responses here to how do you think about this? How do you measure this? What makes a good token? What makes, is token holder revenue something that we need to care about? And we're gonna get more and more of these questions answered. Brian Armstrong deserves some respect for not launching a base token. Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon said that? From what I understand, he is not a big Brian Armstrong fan. Put it that way. To put it lightly. Interesting. All right, guys, we're going to keep rolling into more from Venice here. Before we do, let me tell you about Infinify, building DeFi infrastructure to access simpler on-chain yield, liquidity, higher yields, no leverage. Visit infinify.xyz to learn more. So getting into the kind of spark that triggered this is Eric Voorhees' Venice project. So they came out yesterday and they said that they're going to have a equity holder and token holder split. And Tulip King comes out and says, look, man, no matter how you spin it, the terminal value of the token is zero regardless of the business because you don't own the actual business. You own on-chain slop in the form of an ERC20. And so Eric's saying here, equity holders have legal protections. Token holders have, trust me, bro, we'll keep buying and burning. Equity holders hold the majority of the tokens, and the token is the largest asset on the balance sheet. The incentives in our case are aligned. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, Eric. I think it's a difficult argument to make that the best use of the revenue stream is to buy and burn a token rather than pay it out as dividends. The best use of the revenue stream is whatever brings the shareholders the most value, but not the token holders. The shareholders. That's the problem, Eric. This was true before the raise and it's true after. So why would Venice buy and burn the token post-raise? Same reason it chose to start doing before the raise. Because Venice holds more of it than anyone else. We're not burning to be altruistic. Yeah, I get that, Eric. I get that. Trust me, I get that. I'm not saying that you are burning to be altruistic, but I am on team. I'm with Tulip King here. Like, if you split the value between the equity and the tokens, you are going to have to face the consequence of doing that. Like, teams and VCs own both of these assets. The Venice equity holders own both the equity and the token. So they get upside in the form of the token and they get upside in the form of the equity. This isn't going to last. How is ETH going to contend with this? Only Bitcoin can stand alone in this respect. I don't think ETH's for sale. I don't think the Ethereum Foundation org is for sale. I think ETH's fine here. I think you start to look a little bit differently with Solana Foundation though, and Solana. So, look, man, I'm with Tulip King here. I think without the direct ownership of the equity in the tokenized version, enforceable cash flows, or binding guarantees, the Venice token could easily trade at a discount to VVV, the asset. And obviously there's token utility for VVV, the token. You stake it to get compute and to get DM, right? But it doesn't matter. The market's had enough of this. And it's not going to respect your company if you don't have the proper setup. And Aerodrome, ? I think Aerodrome's safe here. There is like a development company for Aerodrome. All right, like it's called Dromos Labs. But they are all in on the token. Their entire equity structure, their entire revenue structure, everything. At least I can say for sure on the economic side, Aerodrome is in the right spot. I don't know on the specifics of the legal. Again, guys, I'm going to need to like talk to these teams and get a better understanding. But from what I understand, at least on the economic side, it's fully centered around the token. And so I do believe that there is a Dromos Labs Development Corporation and that there may be some questions still there. So I don't know. I don't have the exact answer for every token, guys, but I'm just kind of speaking broadly here. All right, let's keep going. So Lessa Bro comes on and says, this will keep happening because the only party that gets hurt in these sort of deals are the token holders. The team plus VCs don't care at all since they both own the equity in the token. This is what my tweet was saying and why I agree. And that the only way that this stops is we as an industry start massively discounting any project where all value accrues to the equity, but also has a token. I agree. I completely agree here. And I think this is going to happen. I think it's already happening. I mean, you just look at the growth of Hyperliquid and you're like, why did that happen? Well, because they're doing things the right way, right? It's the same thing. It's the same freaking thing. And I think that there's a select handful of companies that are doing this the right way. I think there is. And I think those companies are going to get bid by the market hard. ETH is not an equity stake in EF. It's gas used for the network and also store value. I agree. I don't think Ethereum is in the same boat as the rest of these right now. I think Ethereum's fine. I think Solana though, and some of these other L1s, I think they're in a different boat. We're no longer newbies. Value needs to be redirected to token holders. I agree, Regret. I agree. I firmly agree. All right, let's keep it rolling. Before we do, let me tell you about LeFi, building infrastructure for cross-chain swaps, bridging, and routing. For smoother cross-chain execution, visit lee.fi. All right, so kind of outside of the token holder and equity debate, friend Rambo is a super big lighter bull. Why lighter trades 10 billion by the end of the year? That's a crazy target. It's a 5x from here. They're going for the jugular institutional liquidity, the ultimate moat, not just the DEX, the rails for TradFi. 3 pillars: US compliance, TradFi and DeFi rails, Ethereum composability. How does Vlad know what TradFi wants? He worked at TradFi. Yeah, I mean, he in this video, this is from the lighter call. So obviously we've been quite bullish on lighter here. Token looks great. Let's go ahead and play this. And if you guys didn't see on the roll up, I'm actually we'll repin it on X, but on our X page and coming on YouTube later today, I did like a 15-20 minute interview with Vlad about this news. And so it'll be on YouTube later today. And and it's on X already. You guys can check it out. But let's go ahead and play this video.
The big vision and why
Athena News,
we're so excited about
I
Lighter.
did.
3 pillars, right? One is we're a US company. It's the biggest financial market in the world. We believe it's moving on chain. So kind of being in the US market with a CFTC license is really important. There's a unique opportunity, right? Like there's alignment between in the Senate and Congress. We've spent a bunch of time with them and also the White House and importantly, the agencies. Recently, I joined the CFTC's Innovation Advisory Committee. We started the process of getting a license for on-chain derivatives trading. And folks like us are in the room to figure out what exactly that looks like. That'll attract not only retail, but institutions, right? Like how do we think about someone like a Citadel trading on Lighter? I mean, they would not trade somewhere without a license. We believe that the kind of architecture we have, which is verifiable and open source, gives us an advantage to comply with whatever guidelines kind of ultimately emerge. The message of verifiability and open source and transparency has resonated a lot with folks we've met in DC, kind of actually in both parties, surprisingly. Our architecture, because it's on top of Ethereum security, is the preferred architecture for TradFi. You know, in the conversations we've had with various institutional players, you know, we've heard a lot of strong messaging around like verifiability and Ethereum security being important. One of the major banks, you know, tokenizes assets, maybe running their own Ethereum L2 to do that. That's going to be composable with Lighter as well. When we talk about full Ethereum composability, right, so what allow us to do is to reach the goal where any asset on Ethereum can be collateral on Lighter. And this, even if you put aside the TradFi bit of it, like even what's already in DeFi, right, like it's over 50 billion in assets in DeFi on Ethereum. That's a huge opportunity. TradFi has really started, you know, after 10, 15 years to finally understand the advantages of being on chain.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I think the tech side is right in terms of the sequencer and the ZK work that they've done. I think that Vlad's right there. I think he's got a really interesting point as well on the U.S. Domestic based of the company. You know, they work out of Miami. Ken Griffin is also just bought an entire apartment building in Miami. I actually met Ken Griffin's daughter in New York like a month ago. It was crazy. She was out with her friends and I was out with some other friends and we didn't really hang out for that long, but just hilarious. Yeah, I asked her about the Mamdani video because Mamdani made a video right in front of Ken Griffin's penthouse and like pointed up to the penthouse in New York and was like, here's Ken Griffin's $285 million penthouse. We are going to be taxing the rich, and he is not excluded. And I thought it was like a total invasion of privacy and like completely unnecessary. And yeah, she made it clear to me that the Griffin family is making the move to Miami. So thought that was pretty interesting. Solana Seeker user here. I love it. Good. Still bearish ETH. Solana will flip ETH. I'm trading ETH like it's my MySpace. Okay. Yeah. Get it, send it, pump it, hodl it, just don't miss it. Lighter will flip Sol. Lighter will not flip Sol. You get her number, Andy, you'll be richer than Sailor instantly. I did not get her number. I'm not looking to mess around with anyone, especially not her, but it was a fun vibe. I asked, so we actually sent, a video of me asking to get Ken Griffin on the show. I never heard back about it, but it's so funny. I was like, bro, let me get a chance. Just give me one chance to get Ken on the show. And so, like, that was my number one MO, Edward. I wasn't interested at all. It was literally just, hey, can I send a video to your dad? And the guy's like on the jet, and like he responds, and he's like, oh, not right now, honey. I'm on the jet or something. And then we sent him this video of like, hey, Mr. Griffin. Actually, first I was like, hey, Ken. And then she was like, no, stop. Redo, Mr. Griffin. It's like, hey, Mr. Griffin, how are you, man? You know, I run this show in the Empire State Building, one of the fastest growing finance and crypto shows. Would love to have you on, blah, blah. I don't know. You know, I gave him the pitch. I don't think he's coming on, though. But would be cool if he did. I just saw he bought an entire condo in Miami. So, all right, let's get into the next thing real quick before we get Gracie up in the show. She's here in the tower. Rate hikes are looking more unlikely. The odds of a rate hike are nearly back to a coin flip for September's meeting. You love to see that. We definitely want the macro to kind of work in our favor here with Kevin Warsh. He's obviously Trump's candidate. Cool story though. Yeah, it was a random night. I was actually out with one of my Australian friends, and it was just a funny occurrence. So yeah, the total rate probabilities are looking. Chances are for no hike, no change. So that'd be great. I mean, that's what we need. We need no hike. We need no change. That's how we're going to get through the rest of this year. And then we want cuts. We want cuts by the end of the year. If we can get cuts by the end of the year, that would be great. Lighter will flip ETH and hype will flip Bitcoin. All right, guys. I see we're getting a little carried away here, aren't we? Just a little bit. Guys, we've got Gracy Chen here in the tower. Without any further ado, we're going to bring her up. We're going to do our daily equity after Gracy. We're going to close out after Gracy with markets, charts, takes, views for the weekend and into next week and more. So without any further ado, guys, let me get just a minute or two, give you guys to our amazing standby, and I'll get Gracy set up immediately, and we'll be right back.
Money, power, I'm money, power, I'm we get deep.
deep. We get deep. Hard. You know we get deep. We get deep hard. We get deep. You know we get deep. We get deep hard. We get deep. You know we get deep. We get deep hard. We get deep. You know we get deep. We get deep. Deep, you know we get deep hard. We get deep. Deep, you know we.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Tokenization Tower. After our intro here about the token equity debate and more, we have a lovely guest, Gracy Chen. Gracy, welcome to the tower. Good to have you here.
It's a great place.
Yes,
and
it's
look
nice.
at the view.
Right? It's great. I'm glad that you made it to New York. It's good to have you here. This is kind of becoming like the capital of crypto in a way. And so I'm sure you're busy, so we can kind of get right into it. CEO of Bitget, one of the longest standing exchanges serving global customers across crypto assets, commodities, equities, and more, kind of expanding into this universal exchange. Really wanted to kind of just hone in today on the state of affairs in digital assets, because we're obviously 8-9 months deep into this bear market, and every bear market that you've been through, that I've been through, things change, and the kind of common denominator is tokens are bad. Every bear market, tokens are bad. Nobody wants to own tokens, and this time it's a little bit different though, and I'm almost reluctant to say that, but we went through this entire period of different types of tokens last cycle and previous, and we saw just a lot of, frankly, retail taking losses for tokens that don't have the right structures, for insiders, for market makers. Like, there's just the whole 9 yards. And so we're now in this era where token holders are demanding investor rights in the same way that equity holders are, earning the rights of their respective.
Like they want to have voting rights and go to the AGM,
yes,
the annual general meeting.
And they want to know what they're owning, right? And so we're currently today at the precipice of what feels like the inflection point of this token equity conversation that we've been having, so on and so forth. And so maybe, Gracy, just high level from your perspective, what has changed from your view in the way that the token market is now kind of constructing itself based on previous bear markets? Where are we at right now from your view? And then we'll kind of get into the nuance.
Sure. The tokenized, so first of all, I think a big shift that's happening since 2025 until right now is when you talk about crypto, it's not just an alternative asset class. It's about blockchain. It's about the underlying technology that can potentially revolutionize the TradFi market that is trillions of dollars. And then similarly, if you talk about token, as you pointed out, like lots of altcoins are just losing the momentum, and the price either looks like totally like this, like just dropping, all the way, or looks like a roller coaster, and that's probably some market manipulation there. And token is not just altcoins like these, but tokenized assets. So RWA is a very important topic since 2025. And we are obviously very pioneering on that. Since last year, we've already listed some tokenized stocks and commodities, tokenized commodities, etc. And now, as you point out, we offer not just crypto, but forex, stocks, ETFs, even bonds. We started to think about that, money market fund, of course, and pre-IPO stocks. So we listed SpaceX pre-IPO stocks together with Republic Crypto. And that was in April, and we gave retail user a good opportunity to capture the game before the stock is even listed on the public market. So that's the kind of revolution that I see in the industry, and that is a very important one, because finally, crypto is not just this small group of community who probably listen to your podcast a lot and care about my Twitter. But now we need to include Wall Street and TradFi and all these big banks and lawyers, regulators, and even politicians. And all these people are very, very important and very important stakeholders in the crypto industry.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I feel like that this transition, we've gone from thinking about this asset class for the $2 to $3 trillion of existing total market cap, as well as the $150 billion that is existing in DeFi in terms of TVL today, to, well, there's hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets that are coming on chain that are going to be tokenized and that will come on chain. And so I think that's a very, very fundamental shift that is happening. And by doing that, kind of getting back to the kind of original top of the conversation here, the type of investor coming in is different. And this type of investor is demanding a different set of token requirements than previous investors. Retail, when I first got in, I was happy to buy a token because there was a narrative that there was, some bank might put it on its balance sheet or might adopt this protocol. But now token investors are demanding revenues. They're demanding redistribution of value back to the token. They're demanding a clear, transparent framework for the token versus the equity split. And they're really just thinking about this asset class from a, what do I own? And as a token holder, am I a first-class citizen? So I'd just be curious to hear your view on this transition of the token economic structure and how you anticipate this new institutional wave of RWAs and new class of investors coming in. Plus, with the regulatory action kind of being more fair and a bit more positive, how that's leading towards a shift in the way that investors are thinking about tokens.
There are a lot of questions there. Let's. I'll try to cover as many as possible, but I definitely may miss some. But I guess the general thought here is when you're talking about tokenized assets, it's not just altcoins in terms of a token.
Correct.
It's also tokenized stocks. And we are seeing many projects, especially those who can make pretty good revenue and profit, they may not want to list a token. Instead, they want to pursue a proper, IPO kind of path and to be listed in a much bigger market for more liquidity, for more better investor exposure. Or there are cases even like Bitget. We had a platform token BGB, but it was shifted to Morph as a layer 2 public chain, and Morph is managing BGB, but instead we are actually looking more for an IPO path. Yeah. So there are cases like that. I think is a key shift in the current industry. And back to your point, even if it's just it's an altcoin kind of token listing, when we as an exchange list new tokens, we are very, very careful about what to list. I think the past week or so, the only token we've listed is an RWA token, something like that. So we are seeing that kind of shift among exchanges, among the retail purchasers or traders, among project founders. And that's a very important shift that we need to be more focused on good quality projects. And I've been very actively promoting this since maybe 2 years ago. At that time, people didn't really care. And I've warned on Twitter or so kind of very public space on be very aware of many altcoins may just be market manipulating, or meme coin is by default or by definition a meme, and it doesn't provide fundamental value, and you should just consider that as a speculative token. I'm not saying meme coin are worthless, but it's speculation by nature, and I don't want every single project to be like a meme coin, and it shouldn't be. And then investor protection or tokenomics, I would say it's a very interesting time to see. There are definitely some projects who are trying very hard to be transparent, share a lot of on-chain and off-chain data with their community, and really build something significantly important. I know you're sharing Office with Plum Network. Yep. I'm not going to endorse them by any way, but I think that's a good project, maybe indicating that they are definitely building on something with the world-class Wall Street kind of investors and asset managers, and really trying to find a good product market fit for the industry, rather than random projects just sharing a narrative on, I don't know, AI agent, etc. And that's not really creating value for the industry, and that will drive, if there are more bad players like that who are just telling story and narrative, I think this industry will die very, very fast if we only allow that to happen.
Yeah, and I think that shift is certainly happening. I think, as I'm saying, like the investors they're demanding fundamentals, and I think they will continue to. Someone in the audience says that they love Bitget and the smart wallet, and that you guys are doing a great job with the smart wallet, so props to you. Coming back to the potential IPO conversation, or just kind of, I've been thinking about this, where a lot of these tokens that have an equity structure and a token structure are thinking about ways to basically combine these. And you mentioned that, you guys have the BGB asset, as well as thinking about potentially doing a IPO. And I kind of had this prediction that I think some of these tokens will actually end up kind of like either like winding down their token and just issuing a tokenized equity of the company as the new token, or figuring out a way to combine the equity of their foundation or their company with the existing token. And so I'm sure you can't speak on all the nuances of your plans, but when you're thinking about being a company that has an existing token, but also thinking about a potential IPO path, how do you see these two worlds coming together? Maybe for Bitget, but also holistically for the industry, founders and companies that have equity and they have a token, wanting to figure out the best path to combine these. How do you think about that?
That's a tough question, and I feel many exchanges who had issued their own platform token, especially 4 or 5 years ago, are having the same kind of question. And the current market practice is to have maybe a layer 2 or a public chain holding that token, just like X layer is managed OKX's platform token, and Morph is managing previously, which belongs to us, like the BGB token. Yeah. And then the exchange itself are pursuing proper auditing from Big 4 companies, and license in various jurisdictions like MiCA in the Europe, Vara in Dubai, MTLs, broker dealers, DCM DCOs here in the United States, and have either go through this path, which is more compliant and more regulatory friendly, or the other path, which is probably very DeFi, very on-chain sort of altcoin marketplace. Yeah. And we are seeing major, maybe top 10 exchanges start to diverge on these two paths, and there are at least like 4 or 5 of us that's very properly seeking for licensings, and at least I'm a big believer in that we think we should work together with the governments and regulators to have proper KYC, AML, to do more user productions, to be more transparent, to share all the auditing information with both regulators and the public, especially 3 years later when we are listed. But as for 3 years later, for example, when we are listed, what's the BGB's role in that? And after all, it belongs to More Foundation right now. But More is a company that we invested in and we incubated. So all these issues, I think it's a complex.
It definitely is.
Complex question we need to navigate. But another interesting trend we're seeing right now, especially, by the way, right after this interview, I'm heading to NASDAQ.
Yeah.
And we're seeing NASDAQ and NYSE, like all these largest public marketplace or listing platforms for tokens, for stocks, are also seeking something, either tokenized stocks or even more crypto native way of issuance, which is exciting. Although most of the conversations there are still at quite early stage, and I think they need a lot of support from regulators like SEC specifically, and it's still early. But that future looks very exciting.
Yeah.
And what does that future look like exactly? I actually shared this vision, which I call 10% vision, with Rob Goldstein, who is CEO of BlackRock. Like last trip when I was in New York, so we were sipping coffee in his nice Manhattan office, and he just asked me, like, Gracie, what do you see as RWA is going to develop into in 2030? And I said, okay, I have this 10% vision, and it goes like this. So right now, all the tokenized version of specific asset classes in TradFi market could be money market fund, real estate, stocks, private credit, etc. And the tokenized version of them, if you if you list out all the numbers versus the traditional finance way that existed for centuries, the penetration ratio is really, really small. Now it goes like private credit is around 0.5%, and tokenized stocks is only 0.01%.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they should go to somewhere like 10% in 5 years, for 5 years time in 2030. So all these conversations around tokenized traditional financial assets, in my opinion, are very early. And we want to build on that in order to drive the adoption and drive my 10% vision.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, we've been sharing the similar thesis here, which is like, okay, as I was saying, there's a couple $100 trillion of assets off chain. These assets are going to come on chain in some capacity in the next 5 to 10 years. Let's call it 10 to 20 trillion of that 200 trillion. And I've just been thinking about who is the biggest beneficiary of this? Who wins the most, right? Like, if this tokenization thesis is correct, what companies, what protocols, what platforms, what primitives, what captures the most amount of that value? And I've gotten a varying, array of answers from different investors and builders. And so I'm going to ask you, like, you're saying that, you guys are very focused on this. This is something that you believe in. You were just with BlackRock. They obviously believe it. It's this 10% rule. So if we get that 10%, who wins? Which companies win? Which primitives win? Which protocols win? What's your kind of broader view of the second and third order effects of this kind of tokenization wave that is happening?
That's a very good question. And this is the first time, because I'm asked this question, like the first time that I start to think exactly the winner who's going to be there 3-4 years time. And I think there are different, very important ecosystem players that's going to be needed in this trend. Of course, as an exchange, I would argue exchanges has a say, and
Totally agree.
And exchanges are a good marketplace connecting users versus the assets, as well as liquidity provider like market makers and institutions. But it won't be every exchange. It will only be the exchanges like us who see that vision, who are really putting a lot of effort, resource, human capital into that vision, and really build very good products for our users. As I pointed out, there are exchanges who are diverging in the path we chose. So those who want to do maybe just crypto, or just serve a smaller community who doesn't want to go through KYC or AML, I think they may not be the proper partner for the RWA future that we are seeing here. So yeah, some exchanges. And then another group that I'm seeing who will be beneficiaries would be stablecoin issuers and stablecoin providers. That's why, 2 days ago when Visa, etc., launched the Open USD network that drove Circle's stocks obviously down a lot. But either way, these players who are the stablecoin issuers will be very important because what we are doing right now is also enabling all of our users to use stablecoin, USDT, USDC, and USD Go, and etc. in order use stablecoins to trade all the universal asset classes, and it is a very important trend that we are seeing. So the second group, I would argue, many of the stablecoin issuers who continue to have a strong market share in terms of payment as well as trading. The other group might be projects who are building the protocols, projects, certain public chains like I feel Solana and maybe Ethereum, especially Solana. I'm more pro RWAs, and they also work closely with regulators and big banks and TradFi players on those adoption. So some protocols like that should be also very important. Who else are we missing? Oh, I think the most important one is actually community and retail users.
Right.
Yeah, which although we were just talking about projects and different players, but these people, when they have access to all the universally valuable assets through a UEX like us, they get to choose and they can implement their best portfolio management strategy and margin using for example, right now we allow our users to use RNVDA, which is Reality's NVIDIA tokenized stocks, to use that as a margin to trade perpetuals, or sorry, to trade other stocks or tokens like Bitcoin. So that's increasing the market efficiency, capital efficiency for our user, and that ultimately benefit our user and traders and community, because now they have choices and they have access to this more longer timing sort of 24/7 market, if not, or 24/5 market, and jurisdiction wise they also have more freedom. We are allowing dozens of countries users to access tokenized US stocks, which may not be accessible in their own traditional financial way. Yeah,
totally
so
agree.
These are all important players.
Yeah, and I think off the top of that, on the exchange side, I think obviously perps have caught a lot of traction in terms of their ability to list real world assets very fast. Like a lot of perps exchanges on the decentralized side, Hyperliquid, Lighter, Variational, etc. Fast listing these assets, and then same on the centralized side. You guys, a couple others, pre-IPO perps, traditional commodities, stocks, indices, etc. And so that's really happening. And so I really wanted to ask you this because I saw CZ doing an interview with the Galaxy folks, and he was asked about Hyperliquid, and he was asked about what he thinks about Hyperliquid, and his answer was more around like they have an advantage because they have no KYC, and I hope they have good lawyers, and I wouldn't want to be doing what they're doing given that I've been to prison and I don't want to go back. And so I'm just going to ask you, Gracie, what is your opinion on Hyperliquid?
Yeah, I have a lot of firebacks whenever I talk about Hyperliquid, no matter positively or negatively. So I made a decision not to comment on specifically Hyperliquid. But in general, DEX and CEX, or we call UEX, is still going to be a sort of bipolar kind of narrative and roles that the community will argue. Some people just love DEX, that they love not doing KYC. And there are probably reasons for certain jurisdictions that like we don't serve the US clients as a CEX. So US citizens cannot go through KYC with me, at least not now. After I launch our US website and specific US app, hopefully end of this year, and actually that's one of the reasons I came to New York a lot this year to do the US expansion. But at least now we don't serve US clients, so some of them may go to other platforms like DEX, and that's a path we chose, and we do want to do, like I said earlier, proper KYC and AML and avoid any DOJ, SEC, CFTC kind of big lawsuit that I don't want to deal with them. So I want to be very compliant.
Yeah, but I think like perpetual futures in general as a instrument are coming to the U.S. Like we're getting the onshoring. The CFTC chairman Michael Seelig is bullish on it. He was on CNBC talking about it. There is a race to the onshoring of perps, which I think is super great for everybody. They've been kind of banned for however long now, so I think that trend is certainly happening. And I actually have a question here from somebody in the audience who's asking like if you see perps as cannibalistic to the tokenization of RWAs, right? So in the tokenization format, right, you issue these off-chain assets, then you put a denomination of it in various formats on-chain in more of like a spot format, so like this one-to-one ownership. Again, varying issuers and providers have different strategies. Perps, you don't even need the asset. You just need an oracle. Right, you literally just need an oracle for this price, and anybody can trade. Do you see these two things as complementary or kind of conflicting each other?
I see them as complementary because perp versus spot have always existed in crypto exchanges since I don't know, like 10 years ago.
Yes.
And people trade both in different scenarios, and there are cases like, for example, myself, I don't have time to do day trading, but I have there are tokens or stocks that I'm very bullish on that I want to hold in the long run. And in that case, I will only trade spot rather than futures, because futures you have funding fee, you have the risk of being liquidized, and of course there's leverage and higher return, higher risk.
Yeah, of course.
But in general, as an exchange, we are offering spot and perpetuals always like this, and perpetuals are synthetic oracle kind of feeded data that power like the whole market. And we're seeing the same in stocks offering, at least in the offshore exchanges setting. So in the long run, I don't see perpetuals being so-called one-on-one, like spot or like tokenized stocks. But in the specific U.S. market, this may be an important topic that's continue evolving, because maybe before Kalshi or before CME started to list some perpetuals of or futures of individual stock, like very recently, within the weeks, right? There weren't that many people in the U.S. who trade perpetual stocks, right? And that's a very new thing, especially in the U.S. market. But it's never a new thing in the offshore,
in the global market. We've been doing this for 10 years.
Yes, we have.
And also, I mean, if we're being honest, everybody in the US just puts a VPN on anyways and trades on these, so.
But they can't trade on us because we still need that
KYC and things, right? But that's where the kind of like the DEX angle comes in. Just kind of thinking more broadly as we come to a close here. I know you're tight on time. You're going to the NASDAQ here. When you first started Bitget, we were obviously a much, niche, small industry. I think it was 2015.
I started in 2022, but Bitget was started in 2018.
Okay, so I joined 2017. We were just, Bitcoin was at 1,000, Ethereum was at like sub 100, Litecoin was at $1, and it was like, it was just very small, very like libertarian, very like anti-government, anti-Wall Street. Fast forward to now, the industry is in a bit of an identity crisis because it feels like we, one, have given up a lot of our identity to TradFi in terms of this kind of convergence that's happened. And then two, this kind of token equity dynamic where like we're all kind of realizing that we don't really have that many high quality assets in crypto. And so we need to really reshape what a high quality asset means and make these assets investable. And then also bring a lot of these kind of traditional assets on chain. Obviously, we're 8 months into a bear market, and there's kind of this large sentiment gap between the institutional deliberations of this technology and the retail or the average investor. And so given that context and given the vision of what you're seeing for Bitget as well as for this industry, what has changed about your thesis about digital assets over the last year or two? What is your updated mental model for where this industry is going? What the most successful exports of this industry are, and kind of maybe what this industry may look like in a couple years?
The industry may look like a couple of years. I'll answer the last question first because we just talked about 2030. My 10% vision, I think that's a good representative of what the industry may look like in the upcoming few years. So RWA, stablecoin, payment, real product market fit, and merge of crypto and TradFi are going to be the trends, as well as AI. And in terms of identity crisis, that's an interesting word, and you are definitely not the first person who talk about identity crisis in this industry with me within this year, and there has been dozens of conversations like that. Yeah. But what I feel is this is just what things is going to be. No matter you like it or not, it's going to be like that. It's just like there are people who have identity crisis in the AI era as well. Like I'm a human being, I'm carbon ordinate. I'm not a silicon kind of a human being. I'm a carbon human being, and when all this like silicon or AI computer can do so many things much faster, much better than I do, what's the value of me? And that's another sort of identity crisis.
Definitely.
But I feel these kind of conversations share the same moral, which is when this industry or when the world is evolving so fast, you can't stop this kind of trends.
Yeah.
You can't stop the RWA trend. You can't stop the AI trend. You have to follow that trend, and hopefully you can ride the wave and be an important player out there and do something magnificent. So that's how I deal with my identity crisis. And Bitget as a company, we also pay attention to these trends very closely and think about our position, how to serve our users and run this marathon together in the long run, because it's not a sprint. Running exchange is not a sprint, and running a project in the industry is also not a sprint. You have to have that long-term mindset and mentality in order to build something great. And if you do, I think right now is the best time, best place in New York, that you can really achieve something very magnificent. And that could be as big as, I don't know, sometimes I feel we are in the 20th century sort of JP Morgan starting up era when lots of revolution are happening in the traditional financial industry. And this wave of revolution is a lot about tokenization. And we have great position and great opportunities to be on this wave and do something. And let's do something together.
There we go. There we go. Let's get this IPO done. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gracy Chen from the Tokenization Tower. Gracy, thanks to have you. Awesome conversation.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of the rest of your day at the NASDAQ. And guys, we'll be right back covering markets, charts, and recapping this conversation. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching the Rollup. Happy Thursday. See you guys in just a sec. We get deep.
big, but I'm big money power. I'm big, 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 but I'm big.
We get deep, huh? We get deep. You know we get deep. We get deep, huh? We get deep. You know we get deep. Deep, you know we get deep, huh? We get deep. Deep, you know we get deep. Deep, you know we get deep, huh? We get deep. Deep, you know we get deep. Deep, you know we get deep, huh? We get deep. Deep, you know we get deep. We get deep. We get deep. We get deep, huh? You know we get deep.
Alrighty, guys. How about that? How about Gracie? Tried to get her to give us some hyperliquid takes following CZ, but she didn't bite. She didn't bite. But she's bullish, man, and she has the same thesis that we have, guys. I think it's pretty consensus. It's like weirdly consensus, but it's like not overly invested in yet. Like, you know what's overly invested in right now is semiconductors. You know what's not? It's tokenization, stablecoins, perps. These things are just underrepresented in the global financial system, understood, misunderstood. GM Rocky, what's up, man? Edward, hope you got your questions answered. New type, glad you are bullish on Gracie. Secretly trading, what's up, man? T-Space X, One Arm Bandit. Guys, good to see you. Happy Thursday. Happy July 4th week. What is everyone doing for the July 4th weekend? Guys, if you're American, tell me your plans. Tell me what you got cooking. Would love to hear it. I'm taking a flight down to the southern part of the States to see my friends, my brother. I don't want to jinx it, but there may be a new member of the household this time tomorrow. So a lot going on there. But guys, what are your plans? What are your plans for the 4th? What are your plans for the weekend? What's going on? How are you guys doing? Let me know. Guys, let's get a look into the charts. Why don't we? So hype looks great, I would say. I mean, 66.02, looking ready to break out to new highs. Obviously, this is very low time frame. But you guys know, I mean, we got some levels. We have clear levels. In my opinion, if we can close this daily up here anywhere in the 65 to 67 range, I think that sets us up for a really good weekend. And then I think that sets us up for new highs as Bitcoin. Basically, I think Bitcoin, again, we're fighting this line. Look, we've been fighting this line since early May, about 45 days. This is the 20-week SMA on the daily chart. And so we've been fighting it. If we can flip this, it should open us up to 66, 68 range, which if that happens, guys, I think there's a chance we go to all-time highs on hype. And I think lighter continues to rip. I mean, guys, we put out this line on the last couple of shows, and it's been spot on. I mean, if you guys have been following the show, you guys are making money. Like, that's what matters. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to help you guys make money in this market and just survive right now too. I'm just like a little bit upset about this. I'm just waiting. Like, we got a nice double bottom, but PER's just not holding up for the first time in a while. The MNAV is significantly lower. Significantly lower. I got to get Capital Flows on to hear what he has to say about this. Significantly lower MNAV to hype. Like, last I saw, it was at like that 1.15, 1.2 mark. We're sitting at that 0.96 mark. Yikes. Yikes. But I mean, guys, this looks great. This looks really good. I found it funny that Gracie wouldn't comment on Hyperliquid. I don't blame her though. I mean, it's not necessary. But CZ did. CZ definitely did. It went viral. Did go viral. Hi everyone. Did the token versus equity debate already happen? Yes, we didn't really debate it too much. in the beginning of the show, I talked about it quite a bit. And then with Gracy, I also talked about it. So in the beginning with Gracy, I tried to get it out of her. She answered pretty well. And then I kind of gave my takes and played some videos in the beginning of the show. We'll have more on that next week, though. We'll do more on that next week because I think it's really important. Did the CEO of Rockaway X, the guy who's getting sued for $200 million for fraud, did he just comment soul ticker on my post? Bruh. Okay. Yeah, we watched this video. It was good. It was good. So what do you guys think going into the weekend? I was hoping she would, LOL. Yeah, same, regret. I was as well. What do you guys think going into the weekend? I mean, on a weekly level, this looks good. You see this level here, this yellow line. I know these lines are silly, guys. Don't get me wrong. But a reclaim of this by Sunday night would be extra bullish. So like any daily or weekly closes at 63K, if we get a weekly close at 63, I think we're basically guaranteed the summer relief that we've been talking about. Guaranteed. Which is exactly what we'd want. This is alarming to me a bit. I don't love this, but I think it'll be all right. It'll just have a couple of those days where it's just like exploding. I honestly think Sailor is still just like killing that trade. But I mean, guys, this just looks ready, man. On the daily, like it just following this line, it's just like, you know, it looked like distribution. It's just coiling. It's just coiling. And in these situations, you just go with the trend as your friend. And in this, you're at blue sky levels. You just ride. Any comeback here, we probably get something back here. Like anything like that is a smash. Any sort of move like this, maybe it comes from a little higher. Anything back down to that $2 level is probably a glaring buy. The only thing for certain this weekend is the dubious speculation upload from Ben Cohen. Yeah, dude, I love that guy. He's great. On hype, as far as buys, if we break this level with strength and we come back to test the 70s and anything back here, back to like this breakout is a buy. So if we do get a breakout, which I think seems likely, then that pullback is a buy. Because that may, if that aligns up with Bitcoin's charting, and guys, I'm thinking about this for like 2 to 4 weeks. Buy the lows in July or come back after Labor Day. Labor Day is in the first weekend of September. So like, I don't think there's that much time here, but I think that because our tokens actually look really good. Like I think because our tokens look really good, we can have a really good chance of getting some really strong moves. Same thing with this, right? Like if this thing breaks, which I think is likely, any sort of pullback down here is a buy. So then I think that we go more. So yeah, I mean, that's how I'm thinking about it, guys. I think we have a good period of time here where we can get some gains. I don't expect a bad weekend. I expect a relatively chill weekend. Pull up the DXY. It's all about USD currently testing support. I hope it breaks down below for our bags. DXY. Yeah. I mean, a couple ways to look at this. You guys can tell I'm literally just a basic support and resistance. I use some MAs, but the question is like, do we hold this level? If we hold this level, then it's not great. If this is the deviation though, and we come back into this like broader range here, then we party hard. Because then we're almost guaranteed to like do one of these and then come back and test the lows. So if that is a deviation and this candle kind of closes back in the range like it is doing right now, then I think we get a party for risk. But if not, then I think this thing could go higher and then that'd be problematic. But this pulling back would line up with the summer rally, and then a bounce would line up with the end of the year Bitcoin, Benjamin Cohen, low in October. I'm right. I'm a genius. I'm smarter than you. And don't fade me. How's Fogo looking? Near intense, just integrated Fogo. Please get Fogo CEO to come to the tower. Okay. I have never interviewed them, ever. But I'd like to. I don't really know what they're doing. What are they even doing? I don't know what they're doing. Yes, at a Fogo de Chao. Is that a Brazilian? That's a Brazilian thing, right? Fogo de Chao? Fogo de Chao? Chao? So, I mean, guys, I think you know where I stand. Like, I think we kind of nailed this. We had risk on. The only thing I'm upset about is my per underperformance right now. Just like, come on. Like, what are we doing? But I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be all right. I think we kind of nailed this, guys. I think we have a couple weeks to have some fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. And I think hype could go to all-time highs. I think Aerodrome does well. Lighter keeps going. I kind of just showed you guys those buys. Zcash is just one of these things where it's just going to like chop, shake everyone out. And then I think it's going to have like a gig ascend at some point. Like, honestly. It's going to chop. And then boom. Near really strong off that level. Near needed that. So. And then Venice is kind of, honestly, I'm kind of fading Venice after that news. I don't think that PR that they got about the raise was beneficial to their company at all. I don't think it was really great. So I'm probably staying clear there for a while. So, guys, what an amazing week. There's no show tomorrow, unfortunately. Today's is going to be short. It's busy Thursday. We're going to wrap the week here. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to do our daily equity segment and wrap this thing up. I think Zama's going to run to 0.05. I probably think so as well. Yeah, I mean, we're still fighting that lower high. Let's put in another one. So probably a little bit more consolidation, but trend is your friend, you know? Trend is your friend here. So not worried about it, but has some work to do chart-wise. Such little data here that it's hard to even have a real thesis. But tech-wise, promise-wise, narrative-wise, I think it can do well. Can you get some DeFi leaders on the show? Uni, Ave, Sky. Get an update on DeFi will win. Yeah, I can do that for sure. Think we crashed to 54K before rallying to the 70s, Beaver says. Possible, but yeah, maybe to the 70s, you're right, but I think we can get to the high 60s. Yeah, definitely fading Venice. Yeah, I'm just kind of staying away from Venice for now. Related to PER somewhat, did we talk about ETH Labs this week? Wondering if Bitminer and SBET shareholders are footing the bill. Maybe. I know that they definitely invested in it. And so maybe they are footing the bill in that way. But I think ETH Labs is bullish. I think it was important for Ethereum to have something like that. Am I bullish ETH here? I want to be. Wow, Pump having a day. See, now Pump's almost getting to the buy me level. Like this level here. Pump's almost getting to that level. Just like Solana, it's going to have that test. But Solana has flipped it. Daily close here for Sol is huge. Massive daily close coming for C. When T all-time high, yikes. Yeah. I sold my VVV to get more arrow. Just makes sense long term. I'm with it. Where's Rob been? He's in Peru. He'll be back next week, though. It's a summer. It's kind of getting to be summer, right? And we're like pretty much fully locking in for Q4 into next year. So you can expect me to take some holidays as well. I'm going skiing down in Argentina, going to Utah, going to Florida. I got a couple trips planned for sure. Rob's going to Vegas. We're doing the show in Vegas soon. We also just got confirmation of doing the show at Korea Blockchain Week and Token in Singapore in October. So that'll be fun. We're talking about ETH, right? I mean, for me, it's like, it's almost like a slower version of Solana. Like it needs to flip this level. It's 1830. And like do one of these. You know? That's what you'd want to see on ETH. And then if we got that, then you could expect continuation back up to these like highs and maybe back up here, but that would be a stretch. But maybe we get back up to this level, to 2K. That'd be like what I'm looking for on ETH. ETH BTC at 0.025 right now. Always a buy at those levels, sell at 0.04. I mean, yeah, zooming out, you're right. It does tend to bounce here. This chart is disgusting. So, I like it. What else do I have? Pengu hopefully can bounce. SERP's one of those ones with like amazing tokenomics, but like, my goodness. Like, so much work to do here. Like, this is like, I mean, you're going to miss quite a bit of gains, but this is like flip this level. You know what I mean, guys? Like, we're not trying to like shoot for grand slams right now. We have tokens that charts look good on high time frames. You know what I mean? Like, these charts look good on high time frames. Why? We're not trying to run and like hit home runs on stuff that is like, that needs work. You know? Like, a lot of these charts need a lot of work. This one, I mean, man, as much as I want this thing to fly, it's like maybe flip this level to get bullish, to actually like size up and be able to hold for a spot trade. It's probably the level that I'd want to see. But again, like, why would I allocate here or here, right? Like, when I can just allocate to the outliers that are already winning. You know what I mean? So, I'll take 15 to 20% of this market. I just put more into Geode. It's robot crypto, excellent tokenomics. Geode. Okay. I think this just got listed. Is there a longer chart? Geode. GeodeNet. No charts, huh? I mean, just on this, I mean, we got what we needed here, so that's good. You know, this thing can hold, then I think it can run. But this is a very small chart. There's not a lot of data here, so hard to really make any take on Geode. But I did see that they are making money and they have good tokenomics as well. Let's do some TA for Ansem. Oh my goodness. Here's that Nest token that we had those guys on the show. If hype runs, this thing could pop. Is Ansem flying still? I feel so sidelined on this. Oh my gosh, is that 17? Is that 17 cents? Oh my God. Bruh. Dude, Ansem's doing a show today. It's going to be so, it's going to, dude, that's just going to be just outrageous. I'm definitely going to watch. It should be live soon. Like, I don't know, in the coming days or coming hours. I do not own any. That would be great if I bought on like the first day or something. I use Rollup as a signal looking for a turn in the market. I'm sure the show is picking up steam, getting guest on. Didn't Andre Cronje step down again from Sonic? Yes, he did. Say hello to Peter Thiel when you are in Argentina. Okay, maybe I will. Maybe I'll see him on the slopes. All right, guys, let's get into the daily equity and then let's wrap this show up. Daily equity is our daily stock market analysis segment powered by our friends at Denari. Let's get into it. There are reports that a ton of things has happened in the stock market today, which was yesterday. Meta may launch a cloud computing business, pushed Meta up 8% on expectations. It could monetize its excess AI capacity. Again, guys, I'm staying away from the AI bottleneck trade as of right now. I think it's been kind of ran through. Then there's this new concept of neo clouds. There's pressure from CoreWeave, NBIS, and IREN. They fell 7 to 10%. Also, the memory trade has slowed down significantly. Palantir CEO Alex Karp was on CNBC today criticizing AI labs for overselling models and pushing costly token usage. Look, I'm not saying that the AI bubble is collapsing in any way or popping in any way, but I must say that this whole like open source pressure from the AI market for these models being so much significantly cheaper and practically the same value is pushing on the AI trade hard. Micron is committing $250 million to Trump accounts as American marks 250th year. It's down a ton today, but that is a very interesting thing where they're going to give their Trump accounts, young generation in America, basically access and ownership of the equity. And then Robinhood obviously looks great with their announcements getting deeper into the crypto land. They obviously announced that Lighter partnership, the Robinhood chain launch with a ton of crypto partners, Morpho, Steakhouse, LeFi, Layer Zero, ton of others. And so look, guys, my read on the market rotation is that memory trade is kind of slowing down. And I think we're getting a little bit of a rotation back to the coins for that. And I think that just generally that the rate hikes expectations are coming down. I think the AI trade is going to cool down. I think it's going to cool down hard. OpenAI and Anthropic both announced the delaying of their IPOs, I believe, until 2027. And I think we're seeing this massive outperformance on semiconductors, memory, GPUs, chip stocks. I think that's going to chill out for a bit. It's definitely not over. Certainly not over. But I think if you missed your entries to these trades, you're going to get another significant pullback on these levels. And so I'm not FOMOing in here by any means. Broadly speaking, the investing class, I think, is very bullish. And the equities market is going to continue to do well this year. JP Morgan raised their S&P target to, I believe, 7,800, which was pretty significant. So, guys, that's the daily equity powered by our friends at Denari. The semiconductor and AI trade is cooling off. And investors in these companies are probably looking to rotate to the next rotation. It's been almost a quarter of this going crazy. I expect it to slow down a bit. I'm not buying. I'm waiting for lower levels. I missed it, and so I'll be waiting for lower levels. That's our daily equity powered by our friends at Denari. Guys, what a show. What a show. What a show. Robinhood moving fast. The space becoming very mature. It's much easier to find solid projects this cycle. I agree. It's like weirdly harder to be a builder and make a bunch of money, but it's easier to be an investor because you just buy the things that are good. So, guys, that's the motto. You know where to find us, bull or bear. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I see you guys in the chat. Smash the like, turn the notifications on. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button. It means a lot. Helps us out a lot. Thanks for being here. You know where to find us Monday morning, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Bull or bear. It's going to be a hell of a July 4th weekend. I think it's going to be a bullish weekend based on how this dailies are closing, which is exactly what we need on a celebration of the 250th anniversary of this amazing country we call home. So, guys, bit of a shorter show today. That's the end of the week for the Rollup. We got tons of content coming out on YouTube this weekend, on X. As always, we'll be there. Thanks for rocking with us. Thanks for being a part of the Rollup Army. You guys make this show possible. You guys make this show way more fun. Every single one of you guys in the chat. Talking, communicating, interacting. This is the bear market version. Just imagine what's happened to us, what the vibe is going to be when we're flowing through 100K Bitcoin again early next year. Mid next year, all-time highs. Just imagine. Just imagine. I can't. Just wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rollup Army, you guys make this show possible. Much love. See you Monday.